Yo,
Yeah. We here.
what's the
Happy
deal?
Monday.
What's the deal? You here? What's going on?
What's
Happy
the
Monday,
deal?
y'all. Happy April 7th, man. We are here. It has been
Yes.
an eventful
72 hours. What?
since Wednesday to now. Who knows what'll happen tonight? Who knows what'll happen by the time we wake up tomorrow, Lord
Yeah.
willing. It's been crazy, man. But we here. We here. Let's talk about some things, man. Let's talk about some things. First and foremost, shout out to everybody in the chat. We are
Love
live
y'all.
here on YouTube. Shout out to my brother Ian Dunlap, the master investor himself,
appreciate you.
reporting from location.
Yeah. I have to go talk to Bahamian government, see how they feel about the tariffs real quick.
Make sure the tariffs
So-
are good.
That's a fact. Live in the flesh. Chat, what's good?
What up?
Remind me of the
What up?
old days.
Chat, what's good? We here.
Yeah, we are live.
National Championship Kuwait, man. This is more important.
I forgot. That's
Shout out to
tonight.
Houston, though.
Houston,
Yeah?
for sure. Shout out
That
to
was.
Houston.
I saw that. The dude thing was crazy.
Calvin
That's
Sampson.
crazy.
But we gonna get into it. Okay, so first of all, I usually do this on Blackout, but shout out to Retired from Society. They sent me this hoodie. It's kind of fire, actually. 1984. That's actually the year I was born. So
Okay.
that year holds a special. But yeah, they got
Research was done. Good job.
Yeah.
Fire.
they got the distressed hoodies. I'm gonna get their Instagram,
Yeah.
but they got the distressed hoodies. They sent me this merch. So shout out to them. Retired from Society. I
Yeah.
like that.
And
Shout out to them.
shout out to Nick, Godspeed. I see you got that hat. I got the
For sure.
sweatshirt on. Shout out to Godspeed. And before we get too crazy, I told you before, 13 years ago was a special day. 13 years ago, y'all. And actually 3 years ago, we all celebrated in Mexico at the 10-year. But this is my anniversary week, man. It'll be 13 years Saturday. Happy anniversary to my beautiful, lovely wife, Danielle, my partner. This has been an incredible 13 years, man. So shout out to you. We'll be watching Blackout this Wednesday.
Fact though.
Shout out to everybody. Shout out to the loved ones out there. No balloons popped here.
That's a
You
fact,
feel me?
though.
I'm just
Yes.
trying to lead by demonstration, Ian. You feel me?
For you doing a great job. Shout out to you and Danielle. I love
There's
y'all
hope.
dearly.
There's
For
hope.
real, you definitely lead by example. I know me and Rashad be hard headed, but we listening.
Shout
You
out.
know,
Yo,
Happy anniversary.
I
for sure.
appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Happy anniversary. And then so their Instagram is Retired from Society TM. So I guess that's trademark. To Retired from Society TM. Check out their Instagram. So like I said, I usually do that on Blackout.
Yeah,
I have a campaign to support Black business.
keep it going.
So a lot of people send me merch, and I wear the merch,
Still
and I give them shout outs.
still a hold on the merch. though.
Yeah,
still
it's
a hold on the merch.
Yeah.
But salute to all of the
Okay.
all of the people that have merch out there. That's doing their thing. This week, Earn Your Leisure, big
Ooh.
episode. We
Talk
just
about it.
Did it actually? So a lot of people, it's been going viral that Pinky Cole lost her company and then brought the company back, and then a lot of people was very confused about what does that mean? What happened? How did this happen? Well, we got the first-hand scoop exclusive
Yeah.
long form interview. She's on a press run right now, but this is the first long form interview that I think that she's done.
Yeah.
Thursday, 6:00,
Big episode.
masterclass, very vulnerable. Told it how it is. She explains the full story
Mhm.
of how she lost. It's not a myth, and some people thought it was an April Fool's joke. It's not an April Fool's joke. She actually lost the company for 45 days. We'll explain it.
Yes.
She'll explain it, I should say. But man, she got it back. But it's a great lesson for entrepreneurs.
for sure.
Something that you can learn from. So that is a very important big episode. Thursday, 6:00. Shout out to Pinky. Shout out to Derek.
Yep.
Shout out to the whole team. But she explains how she lost her company, what she did wrong, the mistakes that she made, how she got it back,
Yes.
all of that.
Listen, it is a powerful episode. It was super intentional. She said, yes, I'm doing interviews, but I have to tell the detailed story here because I want this to be the platform that educates people on the experience. We looked at it and said, say less.
That's
I
a
love
fact.
Say less.
Shout out to Pinky.
Yeah,
man.
shout out
So
to the entire team.
That's
over there.
6:00. And then, of course, Blackout, we back. I'm sure it's going to be spicy. This Wednesday, 10 o'clock,
sure.
myself and Ian, I'm sure that's going to be one for the ages.
Chances
And
are.
get your tickets to Invest Fest. Man, this year is more important than ever.
Than ever.
Artificial intelligence. We probably gonna have at least 4 different workshop panels on artificial intelligence. Is vitally important right now.
Yes.
But investfest.com. Get your tickets. Get your vendor booths. August 22nd in Atlanta, Georgia. That weekend, man, it's important.
The conversations will be there. Your favorite people will be there. Your favorite companies will be there. So make sure y'all there. No questions asked.
Ian,
For sure.
Ian, any announcements?
Yeah, get your tickets to InvestFest. I will be doing my presentation on how I've integrated AI into my investing and trading life. I talked a little bit about it at the mastermind that we did in Atlanta. Kudos to all of you. But since a lot more stuff has come out since we were at NVIDIA, have a lot more to share. Stock Club call will be this Wednesday. Check Telegram for the time. If I made you money, please put yes in chat. Happy birthday to my cousin Jaleesa. I'll see you in Bali doing your thing. And tomorrow, happy birthday to my mother. I love you dearly. You mean the world to me. Thank you for all your sacrifices.
Happy birthday. April birthday. Happy birthday.
Sure.
Yeah, my niece had
my
a birthday
baby.
too. Happy birthday, Ariel. She turned 10 on Saturday. Happy birthday, Mom. Mom Dukes.
Yeah.
Come on, man. I love it.
What a time.
Troy.
Yeah, man. Y'all know how this works. Wait, quick shout out. We had an emergency episode on Thursday. So shout out to Caleb Silver. Shout out
Amazing.
to
Frank, yep.
Amazing episode. A lot of good feedback that came from that. So shout out to everybody that watched that. But y'all know how this works, man. Do your own research. Our content is intended to be used and must be used for informational purposes only. It's very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with, or independently research and verify any information that you find on our show and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. Continue to do the research, share the research. When you found good research, give credit to the person you found it from. Build community, build your brand, build your community, build your brand, build your life, spread love. Let's go make some money, y'all.
All right.
Put y'all grandmas to bed. Today is not the day. I'm sorry. Disclaimer. Rated R. Suitable for adults and children only.
Hold on. So before we do this, let me do this. Hello?
Yes.
All right. So you live on Market Monday.
Hey.
Prepared. I'm not prepared.
What do you mean? No.
Prepared. So
No. Just say it. You got like 3 minutes. Just say what you gotta say.
3 minutes. Okay. Now I'm listening.
I don't have my notes, Ron.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I don't have my notes. I wrote them down.
Well, can I just say hi? Just say hi to the people.
Hi, everyone.
All right.
Hey.
All right.
Umi said, shine my light on the world.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So that was my mom. So
Kudos to your mom.
at the end of our episode last week, we was pretty critical on Cory Booker.
Oh man.
And she was very disappointed, and she had a whole long list of things of why we were wrong in our assessment of Cory Booker. So I gave her the opportunity to voice her opinion.
She didn't send a text.
And she wasn't prepared. You gotta be prepared in life.
Usually she sends a text.
You gotta be prepared in life. That's important.
I know. Now I'm definitely gonna get one.
Okay.
How long was that?
Blame it on me. It was my idea.
It was a question. Like, what did it? I don't know what it did. What did it do?
Okay.
Well, she will articulate our points later tonight.
Exactly. We needed to be educated on the process.
That's a fact.
Always open to that.
Before we jump in, pause. Rashad, you had an amazing point that I saw you post on Instagram. And since this is the reason for the fallout, do you want to talk about this now, or do you want to wait till later? Because I really think it's really important what you brought up.
Which one? The Tim Cook one or the Trump one?
The Trump.
Let's save that. Let's save that because I want to let the beat build.
Beat build. Got you. Okay.
But okay, we're not even gonna play no games. Let's jump right into this.
Yeah.
The first thing I want to ask you is Apple effectively done? When I say done, I mean like, is it time to take them out of the 2 tech 2 index philosophy? Is it time to abandon ship? Because it's like, if tariffs is really going to happen, and this iPhone is going to come to $2,200 for the most expensive one, right? We already talked about all the other problems that they have, and Apple is the leading stock in a lot of major ETFs.
Yep.
QQQ, I think it's the leading XLK, and it's the leading stock in a lot of people's portfolio. Warren Buffett sold a lot of his Apple stock. We'll talk about him later.
For sure.
Has the day come to abandon Apple?
I mean, I just said last week we needed a new CEO, and you called me crazy. It hurt my heart.
No, I didn't say you was crazy.
No one said crazy.
I didn't say you was crazy. Well, you can't
It's
blame
Ian, muy loco.
you
Hermano.
can't blame this on Tim Cook though. This the tariff thing.
Rule number one as a CEO, man, everything that happens on your watch is your fault.
That's true. That's
so.
true.
Yeah, but they made the move to India to offset tariffs. Ooh. Great way to play late.
That was even part of the question last week, right? Like, is their day coming when they drop under 20%? Obviously, now they went down under 30, but yeah, where we at?
I'm gonna give my honest take about this. And it's not because I created 2 Tech 2 Index. If I made you money, please put yes in chat. Is that day here now? No. Do I think it could happen before 2034? For sure. Let's start with the positives. Gross profit margin, 46.52% for a fledgling, non-innovative tech company. That is amazing. You can't take that away. And the number one, please write this down. The number one reason I constructed Apple and Microsoft into the 2 Tech 2 Index scenario is drawdown. Even though they got their boot smoked today with Nike, what's the drawdown this year for Apple? Please put it in chat. Y'all said y'all want me to restore the feeling and bring the old essence back. I got you. What's the drawdown this year thus far? So if you compare Apple to Tesla drawdown is 2 to 3 times bigger than Apple. So when you're building your portfolio, the gains are important, but how much you can draw down is the most important thing you want to factor in, and then profit margin. If that profit margin was 30% or 29%, Mortal Kombat, Flawless Victory, Fatality, I would be replacing them for NVIDIA a long time ago. Now, what I don't like about the business, not a lot of innovation. They are even this tariff move. No, you can't solely blame him, but if you've been to the White House during this administration and last, you knew this was coming. How are you just now making an adjustment to make that move in India when you know India's market is more important than ours in terms of market share going forward for the next 10 years? I think he's reacting too slowly. It's like when Harden started doing a step back and then like everyone started doing it. I remember the days when they would innovate and they would lead. So is it time yet? But will I maybe move that date up from 2034 to 32? Probably.
Well, 2032, I mean, that's still a long. So you're still bullish on Apple?
Yeah, 46.52 gross profit. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I'm just asking because I know
Yeah.
that's a question. I know
I'm not attacking you, my brother. You my guy, yo.
As long as those statistics stay the way they are, obviously it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I think the question for the people, a lot of people who are watching now, is this the bottom for Apple, right? This is 27% down as of today. There still might be some room to fall here, right? When we're talking about tariffs, we saw, I mean, we were just sitting, just watching our phones. Now the China retaliatory tariff came through at 34%.
Yep.
We come back now, we had another 50%. We're at 104% tariff. We know China, like 104% is crazy.
What?
China accounts for 80% of Apple's production capacity. What that does to the business. I know we spoke about India. It's so interesting. When we talked about India and we talked about the declining sales of the iPhone inside of China, we said maybe it's not a product, it's a new region. But it speaks to how long it takes to get these businesses up and running, these factories up and running.
For sure.
They've been working in India for 3 years, right? They're saying potentially, right, if they expedite the manufacturing in India, it could account to 15% of production. And that's after almost 4 years,
of building,
to get the infrastructure together. It can increase it from, I think now where it's at like maybe 7 to 8% to up to 15%, which is a large jump, but it took 4 years to do that, right? If you're talking about tariffs that are happening now, there's not going to be another 4 years that they can sustain this. And so something has to happen, right? Like they gotta figure something out here, or
Like a new CEO.
Well, I don't even know if a new CEO changes this, right? Because the CEO of the country, the way he's moving,
Okay,
it's really tough to
you're
predict,
right.
right?
You have I have a question for you. When you guys plan InvestFest, do you start 3 months before or the day after InvestFest is over? The most important thing for a leader is contingency. My first thought every day is what combination of factors could put me out of business. They got too comfortable with, and I said this in Stock Club, I'll say it here, geopolitical risk first, then fundamentals, then technicals. You can't RSI your way out of this. So I think Apple got too comfortable. And the thing is, okay, we went to GTC. When's the last time we've heard any significant news come out of Developer Day at Apple?
In terms of product or in terms of software?
Anything.
Yeah. I mean, it's the typical, the iOS update, the new MacBook, the new iPad. They tried with the Vision Pro. That really didn't work. So the products are lacking, and we've covered
the
that.
Apple Intelligent, if that was a financial product, it would be a Ponzi.
Right. I mean, every quarter it seems it's almost getting forgot about in the rollout of announcements, right? Like that was supposed to be part of the phone when it dropped in September. They said it was going to be there by December. We're here in April. They still haven't really. I mean, it's there, but nobody's really using it to its full capabilities. They have their June summits coming up, and so there's a possibility there.
I hope so.
I don't know.
Apple load the boat 151.47.
Apple load the boat 151. Okay. All right. All right. You heard it there. That's lower than the 52-week low.
For sure.
That's low. That's pretty low. But you gotta like Apple at this price, though. At least on a dollar cost average.
You got
if you're looking 2 years out, but if I was starting a portfolio from scratch, would I put them there first over Nvidia? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
But you would add them to the portfolio.
Yeah, they're probably 6th, 7th, 8th man. You're
So okay. So for my personal, I'm just personally curious. If they're the 7th man and you wouldn't put them ahead of Nvidia, then why are they still in the 2 Tech 2 index? Why isn't it Microsoft and Nvidia for the 2 Tech?
Minimum of draw. What's Nvidia's drawdown?
So the minimum, the risk reward ratio.
Reward ratio, especially you being a
that makes sense.
Approach being conservative. The number one thing you have to factor in business is how far can this thing drop, and can you withstand the pain? A lot of you traders right now are getting destroyed, thinking that every trade that you could. I know people who were short in the market who got whipped out to the upside because their stop was too tight, and then it dropped to where it was supposed to go. The first thing I'm always factoring in is how much risk will this investment buy me? If I can mitigate that, keep that within, even in the worst case scenario, if we have full out contagion, Apple and Microsoft together may draw down 42% on average. This including the Steve Jobs years. If Apple goes to 42, Tesla's going to be 89%.
Yeah, that volatility is
it's over with. Like you can't. And all the fundamental analysis you'll go through and all the charts, that's great. When you're down 72%, you're not thinking anything rational. You're going to sell.
Yeah, that was one of the things that beta, right? When we talk about
for sure, it matters.
Beta, if you look at what Tesla's is versus what Apple's is, there's a difference, right? Like you want to keep it in for those. So the beta is kind of like the volatility of that equity, and so a conservative one is probably between anywhere like 1 to 1.2. You look at Tesla, I think it's like at 1.8 or something like that.
It's at the edge.
It's at the edge of like high volatility. And so like that, like you said, looking at stop losses, because a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to short the market. And a day like today happens. And it's like, wait, what did I just do?
You whipped around.
Yeah, you move around like 10 o'clock, your Dow's up 800. Wait, you're down. And by the end of the day, I think Nasdaq ended green today. Ended positive. So I mean, if you don't know what you're doing, it's not something that you should just be playing around with. But yeah, volatility is important.
And to be fair to Apple, year to date, they're up 7%. So I mean, 1 year. So you got to be.
Oh, 1 year, not year to date.
Yeah. 1 year. And if you look over the last 5 years, they're still up. tremendously. The Nasdaq is up 92% over the last 5 years. So if you've been watching the show, if I made you money, please put yes in chat. So yeah, if you've been investing, you're good. But just being very real. And I've always told everyone, if it was time to get rid of Apple, I'll be the first to say it. But you can't be so emotionally tied to your investments that you aren't able to see a clear path. I pray there's a day that Apple and Microsoft are no longer valid and I can say kill both of them. But that day hasn't come yet.
Okay. Hit the like.
But Tim Cook need you.
You calling
got,
for his job, man?
Yeah, one more year. Max.
Hey, he's turned this into a $3 trillion company. You calling for his job? That's tough, man.
What Kendrick say? It's a culture issue.
Since when, though? Since when?
I've been screaming this the last 3 years.
Okay.
Shout out to everybody who work in HQ, and some of their brightest talent has left and thrived at every other organization. Like their best talent, like just like the San Antonio Spurs. At one point,
I mean, if we look at it in retrospect, if we look at obviously since the passing of Steve Jobs, what has that company done? It's been the wealthiest company in the history.
For sure, he's the greatest operator of all time. Yeah. No question.
I remember we used to say this about Steve Ballmer, right? It was like what he did during Microsoft. The stock never moved,
ruined the company. Yeah,
but he was intricate in bringing Azure to Microsoft, which is now the product that, I mean, the cloud service is one of the biggest pieces of their business. So there are attributes that they bring to the company that it's like, hey, if they weren't here, we're not at this level.
Perhaps. Well, let's do this. Hit the like button and share. We at 8,500. Let's get this bad boy up to 9,000.
What's good, y'all?
Before we really start to cook on this tariff situation and if you should sell your stocks, if you should buy stocks right now, I know what people want to hear. But we gotta let the beat build. We have to let the beat build. Okay, Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Bitcoin's also, we talked about Bitcoin last week and how it's been moving in sync with the stock market. And now, as of right now, it's moving back up again, but it moved heavy. I think it lost $6,000 yesterday. Going into today.
Yeah, it got down to 76,000.
So Bitcoin is not bulletproof when it comes to, the movements of the economy and the stock market and even tariffs. So what does this say about Bitcoin and the larger crypto space?
As I alluded to before 3 years ago, that it would be taken over by the banks, and it would. For the banks to have a hedge, because if this is the highest returning asset in the history of mankind, wouldn't it behoove the banks to have the highest returning asset of all time in their portfolio as everything else is falling apart? I don't know why. The bond market, though, I'm going to keep bringing this up to Bob Pisani or somebody bring this up. The bond market has been in a rout for 4 years. And no one's blinking an eye. I know everyone's talking about, hey, you should get into TOT right now. You should not be buying bonds, even though you should have a well-rounded portfolio. Now is not the time. As far as Bitcoin, I like it at 68,200. If it gets to that level, or 70,000 flat for those of you who don't have patience to get in. But I think all the assets that are bought by hedge funds, institutions, and countries are going to mirror what the rest of the market is doing. I do miss the days when there was parity in between the two, when Bitcoin would go up, when the market went down, but those days are long gone. And you got to give kudos to Michael Saylor now for the time being for investing in it. If he gets a liquidation call.
Well, did you see what happened to MicroStrategy? Obviously, over the past week, everything went down, but they said that their first quarter, obviously they bought, I think, over 800,000, some 80,000 Bitcoin.
Yeah.
The value of Bitcoin went down, so they told the investors obviously the quarter was going to be a negative one, but that was before the events that happened over the past couple of weeks, and so you're now looking at maybe another negative quarter before the real numbers really come out for what MicroStrategy looks like. So that's gonna be something to watch. Since you brought them up,
well, I will say this: Bitcoin has held resilient through this
for sure. Absolutely,
it has not fallen as much as stocks in this period of time.
Nowhere near close, and bounce back faster.
Yeah.
So it's actually, so that's an encouraging sign that it has some level of stability that it's not it might not be a direct hedge because it is moving down with
Yeah.
stocks, but it has not moved as quickly down and as much. That's encouraging.
Yeah.
And
And
I think everybody is bullish on Bitcoin long term, except for Warren Buffett. That's concerning because
that's a different reason why.
but everybody else is really bullish on Bitcoin long term. So I don't think that I don't think MicroStrategy has to worry about Bitcoin just flatlining.
No.
No.
The part of it is that they bought it at the average price of $98,000. So that was part of it, right? And when it goes down to 76, that's for this quarter. But the first quarter, I mean, we talked about percentages for the past 30 days. That would go back into the first quarter. Bitcoin is down 8%. And so you take that into account. We're looking at the drawdowns over the past couple of weeks where it went down 11, 12%. So you're starting to see where it's at now, and who knows where we're headed.
We had 9,000 people. Is it time? Is it time?
And I'll say this for the end. This is not the market from 3 years ago from Bitcoin.
Yeah.
All the 36,000, 40,000 level talk, that's not going to happen. It's over with.
Right.
But yes, it is time.
Yeah. Let me just, before you do it, I'm going to give the percentages. So in terms of Bitcoin dominance and what the other assets under Bitcoin, like these, I want to call them meme coins, but the altcoins. So Ethereum in relative relation to Bitcoin over the past 30 days is down 30%. 30% drawdown.
It'll be great for him to show up. Russia.
XRP is down 20%. Solana down 22%. Doge, if anybody's in there, 24%. So you can see Bitcoin went down 10%. It's actually climbing up. It's at about 79.4 right now. It was at 10. It slowly has moved up. Those alternative coins haven't moved at the same volatility. So that's, you have to realize that when we're talking about the dominance of this. Should we be investing in others? Be aware.
Don't Elon got a meat coin coming out, pause?
Hey,
You said a what? Wait, what did you just say?
What is it called? Oh, a B coin.
hey, yo,
Wowzer.
I'll say
all right,
pause, yo.
We gonna get fined for that.
Let's get this going. Let's get this show going. Let's get
And
this
the other baby in his, but never mind. Go ahead.
Let's get this show going. 92. I think it's time. We're gonna get this up to 10,000. We're gonna get this up to 10,000. But okay,
These are just jokes written by.
this is what everybody wants to know. Okay, a moment has come. Trump, tariffs, global recession, global depression. Let's get into this conversation. So let's say this. First, speaking for myself, but I think I speak for everybody.
Yes.
Yes, you should always be investing in stocks, and yes, you should invest in stocks when go down. After this segment, we'll talk about like investments that we like in this market. We'll talk about investments after this section, but I just want to preference that by saying that yes, we got that out the way.
Robert said, "What YG say?"
Now, as far as Donald Trump, well, okay, let's just say this. So, when I said, you know, I hate to say I told you so,
but
just tell
needed sometimes.
Sometimes it is needed. I said, he's not going to be good for the economy. You know, I got a lot of backlash for that. And I got a lot of backlash for that. So much so, even my son was reading the comments. He was like, "Yo, why was they talking to you like that in the comments?" I'm like,
yeah,
I guess they really love Trump a lot. I have no personal problems. I don't like or dislike any person I don't know personally, right? But all the smart people that we know, they all said that he wasn't going to be good for the economy. That's why.
Can you name some of those really quick, just for credibility? Because it's better when it's come from somebody else's.
Well, let's leave them anonymous because you know I don't want them to get in trouble because you know. But everybody said that he was going to be bad for the economy. The majority of CEOs were not backing him.
Yes,
that's just a fact.
And those who did begrudgingly.
He lost the election last time because of the economy. This is the amazing thing. He's a great marketer. He literally lost the election last time because of the economy. What makes you think that he was going to be an economic genius this time? He wasn't good last time. He wasn't good for the stock market last time. The only reason why the stock market went up is because they put an unprecedented amount of money into the economy. That helped cause inflation. That's the only, they artificially pumped the stock market. He wasn't good for the economy before.
Well, and he had the stock market was already on an incline, right? From the previous administration. And I know, Ian, you always talk about quantitative easing, but that had really started to kick in 2016. By the time we get to 2017, obviously we start to see a rise. 2018 slight dip, but 19, and then 2020 happens.
Yep, on his watch.
On his watch.
And Republicans usually perform worse for the stock market than Democrats.
Historically.
That's just a fact. Like, it's just
you can't argue it.
I'm a registered independent.
Yes,
but the facts are the facts, right? I've personally lived two recessions in my lifetime. They did change the rules last time, but officially on the record in Guinness books, the first one was on George W. Bush's watch. The second one was on Trump's watch. It was a short one, but it was on Trump's watch. And we're headed into a third one under Trump's watch. What do they have in common? This is a non-debatable fact, right? So
it's a historical trend.
This is just a historical trend.
Yeah. That's not an opinion.
Yeah.
And then the crazy thing about it, and like I always say, you can't do a good deal with a bad person.
Yeah.
You can't do a good deal with a bad person. He's not a good person. He's actually a lunatic. Anybody, you sending people, you snatching people off the street,
crazy,
and sending them to Central America to a maximum prison, and then finding out it's not even the real guy. My bad.
You watched 60
and then they not even gonna let him back in the country,
which is insane.
That was
like,
yeah,
bro. Like you tweaking at 12 o'clock in the night and just tweeting anything. You cursing people out randomly. Like, he has no decor. He has no coof. He's the first president in American history that lost and didn't even come to the inauguration. He went golfing. Not a good person. You can't do a good deal with a bad person. So now you have Bill Ackman saying, oh, like, you're an idiot because you publicly endorsed him. You championed this shit. Now you're under pressure because you've lost billions of dollars for your investor, and you're saying, oh, he went too far. You got Jim Cramer on CNBC crying, talking about this isn't what we signed up for. What'd you sign up for? You got the dude from Barstool saying, I'm down 20 million.
I like 20, boy.
Like, what did you think?
Adam 22 going out of business. What, like, we told you it was going to happen. Can you address the rumor that you were supporting Trump? And I'm like, where's the clip? He went crazy on the night of the election.
As a fact, we had blackout, and it was a whole 20-minute rant. But the thing about it is this. Okay.
You left the Willy Wonka $5 million voucher.
I mean, I could do a variety of different things. But okay. Now, this tariffs thing, right? This is my opinion. This is just my opinion. It's a stupid idea. That's why I said 3 months ago, it's not going to work. And this is the crazy thing about the psychology of a lot of people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, well, America's been getting ripped off. America literally has been built on ripping people off.
For sure.
We started a whole
inception.
You know, we started civil wars in Central America over bananas.
Yes.
Literally.
Republic.
Thousands of people killed because we wanted to prop up dictators to make sure that we could continue to exploit banana farms. Let's not even talk about what we've done in Africa.
Oh, yeah.
America was built on exploitation. We're not getting taken advantage of. Like, when you're too greedy, you're going to end up losing. That's a life lesson.
Yeah.
Don't exceed the limits. Like, we have the highest GDP in the world. We have the highest household income in the world. We're the wealthiest nation in the history of the world. Can we improve on a couple things? For sure, nothing is ever perfect, but we are already in first place.
Yeah.
When you try to be too greedy, you end up losing. We've been exploiting the world for at least 150 years, right?
Minimum.
That's how we became the world power that we are
Started
now.
wars in Colombia over those assets.
Narrative that we are getting taken advantage of. That's the real delusion of white supremacy. You're trying to spin a narrative that we're victims. We're not victims, literally. Can you renegotiate trade deals? Yes, but you got to do it intelligently, one at a time. You don't do it And the manner that it was done, every single intelligent economist said that this is probably the worst decision in 95 years. So will the stock market come back? Yes. So if everybody's saying like, oh, well, this is a good opportunity to buy the dip. Well, sometimes in life is bigger than just an opportunity to make money, because when every single thing in the economy goes up, that's not helpful for anybody. It's going to be a lot of pain. Like, yeah, we're going to be okay. But the person that's making $45,000, they're going to feel a lot of pain. Hurt. You got to have some level of empathy for these people. They're not going to be able to survive when their iPhone goes up to $2,000. Like, you don't understand that people in recessions, suicide rates go up when it's recessions. You don't understand that. You don't understand that people lose their homes during recessions. They have nowhere to.
Domestic violence goes up.
You got children that's going to be homeless. Like, it's a little bit bigger than just making money in the stock market. We're going to tell you how to make money in the stock market, but you have to have some level of intelligence and empathy and humanity. The way he's going about this is completely irresponsible, and it's a self-inflicted gunshot wound. It didn't even need to happen. Sometimes in life, you just get into a recession and it just has to happen. This didn't need to happen. He's literally crashing the market for no reason. That's why Jim Cramer was like, I feel disappointed. That's why Einstein of Wall Street was like, this is a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Like, this is literally probably one of the most irresponsible things of all time. And even Elon Musk is going against it. He went too far. His best friend who actually got him in office is saying like, these guys are idiots. So Europe's laughing at him. And when you're trying to champion this shit, you look stupid trying to support this because he's not intelligent even enough to know what they're going on. You got people from the University of Pennsylvania saying like there's no rhyme or reason to this tariffs. And I got to deal with somebody on social media who has never traded a stock before saying, "What? No, this is this is chess move. This is chess, not checkers."
It's not chess.
No, or this formula makes perfect sense.
It makes no sense. And the last thing I'm gonna say about this is that he's doing tremendous harm to the brand of America. America will no longer be the #1 country in the world. We know that's gonna happen. China is going to take over that mantle very shortly. All he's doing is just accelerating that. We already have a problem with our education system in America, and now all he's doing is just making it easier for China. Every country that's mad at us, they just run into China. You're going to see Mexico, you're going to see Canada, you're going to see all of our top trade partners signing deals with China. China is taking advantage of this situation. It's lowering the standard of America, and it's going to hurt America long term. America will be the next Europe. In 50 years, America is going to be like Europe, a past relic of greatness. People's going to come and just look at like the Hollywood book of like the stars and say, oh, that was a place that was pretty cool. We're not going to be a third world country, but we'll be like France or we'll be like Great Britain. We don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. This is China's century. He's accelerating that. And a lot of you guys are helping it because you champion this dumb shit. And you should be ashamed of yourself because you're not going to benefit from it. That's the sad thing about it. Like you're not long term, you're not going to benefit from it. Okay.
I appreciate it. Like you cooked.
Yeah.
Troy, go ahead.
No, I mean, there was a lot to touch on, but Mike Novogratz said something very, very important. I was watching one of the clips from their show, and he was like, part of this tariff situation is on us, right? The negligence. Obviously, after World War II, countries were desolate. We're gonna give you favorable deals. Now, the problem that we inflicted on ourselves is that we never put terms on those deals.
Back to leadership.
You never put a 10-year, or when you get to this level of GDP, which he kind of explained, and it was like, well, who's in leadership that wouldn't do that? So now when you get a guy who's in office now and he's looking at 60 years of this, and he's like, nah, you know what? I don't think this is favorable. And like you said, he just takes this gunshot wound. It's like, yo, we're going to fix this all at once. Well, that's not how it's going to work, right? And even now, when we watch the market pull back Thursday and Friday, it was like everybody's waiting to see what Europe is going to do. If the European Union decides, hey, you know what? These tariffs aren't favorable for us, and if they stick together, which we'll see what happens, and they decide, hey, maybe we don't do business with you, and they do say, hey, China, listen, I know we had a trade partner over here, but those terms aren't favorable. We actually may have to use your market going forward. What does that do, right? They just like, as we were coming on, that was sort of the 25% tariff thing was floating around from the European Union. The administration was like, look, they went right to the places they know it were hurt. They said, look, if y'all do that, if y'all retaliate with 25% tariff, European Union, we're putting 200% tariff on wine and spirits. So who do you think the first two are going to bow out in the European Union? France and Italy. They're like, yo, wait, hold on. I'm not sure if we can do this if they put a 200% 200% tariff on something that actually leads our economy. And we talked about those spares. I ain't even gonna bring the spares companies that come from there, but think about that, what that does to the economy. So he's playing this game a little differently than anybody we've ever seen, right? Like, he's like, he's willing to like go to levels that there isn't one economist that would say like this makes sense, right? I'm starting to think like even inside of his cabinet or his trustees, they're looking at this like, I know this is wrong, but they're just gonna ride to the devil.
He's
even
the Mad King.
Exactly.
He's out of his mind. He's delusional.
He's turning to
and
the
y'all better not wear that MAGA shit around me. It's up. If I see anybody wearing MAGA, only red hats I'm wearing is locks. If I see you wear this MAGA in the gym, in the gas station, is up.
Smacking you.
So the
45 through the
site,
40
site is up.
45/47.
Kanye, anybody wear that MAGA shit around me?
Academics. Hey, my boy.
I'm tired of this.
And outside of the government, U.S. government, who owns the majority of our debt? China. This is the whole Drake versus Kendrick scenario, 20v1 all over again. Remember, I was screaming at bricks. It'll never happen. America's the greatest army. What if they beat us at another war?
Right, but what's the goal though? Right, like if it's to like decrease debt, right? We $1 trillion, 37 trillion in debt. If that, what is the amount that this tariffs is going to bring in, right? Because like if you understand how tariffs work, it's really going to affect the people, the consumers first, and then it'll affect the businesses, right? So when Apple decides that the iPhone is $3,000 going forward, and the consumer's like, we're not paying that, well, their revenue is going to go down.
Tim Cook going to retire. We don't even need to see you. He's going to step down.
It's going to affect the people first, and that's everybody that's watching this, including us, right? That affects us. We're not immune to it.
You know how bad the economy has to be for the World Economic Forum founder to step down? Take our opinion out of it. Go look at the people who run it. They started to say, you know what? Let me go enjoy the fruits of my labor in the midst of all this BS. And are we Drake in this scenario? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. This is a 20v1. They're going to fight a different battle, and we don't have a way out of it. Yeah. So, stocks will go up, but the economy is going to be, in 5 years, the cost of homes have went up 400% to 700% in most major cities. You think that's sustainable?
Right. And them jobs ain't coming back.
They're gone.
They're not coming back. Apple's not coming back to build factories.
No.
So
they're not building a factory in Chicago.
It would cost them less just to pay the tariffs than to build the factories. Why would they build factories? Just pay the tariff. Doesn't make any sense.
And we don't do everything well. That's like common sense. Like I'm good at social media, at marketing. Troy's good at technology. Like if you force him to do everything that I do, he's going to be able to do it because he has no choice, but it's not going to be optimal. If I'm forced to do everything that he does, it's not. So like, they make better cars in Germany. That's just a fact.
Hands down.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, just some things are better in certain parts of the world. We're not like the idea that we could do everything in America is just, that doesn't even make any sense. It's stupid. And like you said, it's outdated. Bring factory jobs. Factory jobs not coming back to Flint, Michigan, or Springfield, Ohio, or wherever.
Springfield.
It's not happening. Like, it's not like we factory. This isn't 1920 banging against a machine. We're talking about technology. They teaching kids in China at 6 years old how to use artificial intelligence. New York City's banned ChatGPT. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
What are we talking about? Like, we're going into a new age, and you talking about factory jobs and manufacturing.
Yeah. Now, does it make sense that we should have some jobs here and we should lower our import-export ratio? Yeah. But that's going to take time. That doesn't happen at once. You don't say, let's charge tariffs on everybody, and like, this is the reason, because we need to have him back. That's going to take, he won't even be alive when it happens, right? Nope. That'll take at least 10 to 15 years to get some of these factories back. And people are like, oh, this is very discouraging. No, with new industry comes new opportunity, comes new innovation, right? We just got to be educated enough to know where the innovation is, right? Where the invention is going to happen, and be part of it. That's all we've been saying. Is like, we got to make sure that we're part of the process.
Yannick, the part about this being live is we can retort. So if I can put Ferrari, BMW, and Mercedes in one investing group, and GM, Ford, and whoever owns Buick, which class of car are you investing in long-term in the market? It's not about Rashad hating American products. The American exceptionalism died when they started selling it off to China 25 fucking years ago. It's almost like he was paid to make this shit happen. Put your grandmas to bed. Don't talk to me about no couth and decorum and knock. I hear that. But y'all don't go say this at y'all jobs where they're doing this shit either. Y'all won't go say that to y'all boss who voted for him and helped put him in office.
And you talking about you love American products. Everything you own is from China. Your laptop is from China. Your computer is from China. Your car, the parts don't come from America.
At all.
No American car company that makes cars in America has 100% of their products made in America. What are we talking about? Like we just like y'all just go for this bullshit that they tell you. It's like, at what point do you start to actually have a brain? No, it's not coming back to America. These jobs are not coming back to America. It's over with. Nobody wants to have a Buick over a BMW or Mercedes. Nobody.
Think about this. Intel died, and we had to pay Taiwan Semiconductor to come save Intel.
Fact.
What are we talking about?
That wasn't even news. That's the crazy part. I said, like, we talked about it like internally, but that didn't even make a headline.
Not a blip. It was more news about 11 maybe coming to New York. Shout to Mayor Adams.
Him and his shorties.
Another supporter.
Yeah, he working on it. 24-hour 11. Shout out to Miami.
Ford Buick.
Any backlash on a Buick?
No, who wants a Buick?
A shot.
Shout out to everybody that owns one, but I've never had one, never driven one.
Okay. Now that the doom and gloom is over.
So how can they make one? Okay, buy the dip. Oh, yeah.
Buy the dip is not a strategy. I'm gonna say this. Buy the dip, not a strategy.
When I dip, you dip, we dip.
Entertainment.
When does the dip stop dipping?
So yes. Okay, buy the dip. Okay.
That's the strategy.
Okay. God bless America.
We're gonna buy puts. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Hey, it's too late for a lot of them. You gotta be careful with them puts.
That's what I'm saying.
You're gonna go kaputs on the puts. You saw today. I think shout to Walter Bloomberg. I see the move. You got paid to put that out. The market was in a rut. The Nikkei was down 8%. And then somebody tweeted that the tariffs are going to be halted. And then all of a sudden, every institution and everybody with a Bloomberg bought at the same time. Man, I done seen enough scandal. So Olivia,
it's the illest sitcom. Like
what?
Is the illest sitcom going, bro?
It's not a real place. All right, but let's say this. Okay.
Oh, I think we just hit a record, y'all.
I think 12 is the record.
Is it?
Yeah.
14.
Is 14? Oh yeah, that was
14.
All right. So let's do this.
With a record for this year.
Hey! Shout out to everybody in chat. Chat. Appreciate y'all.
Okay.
Let's get back to brass tacks.
Yes. Okay. Buy the dip. Yes. Buy the dip. Okay. So
buy the dip is not a strategy. Sorry, I'm waking up. Put your grandma's to bed. 20% off.
We had the deep sea dip, and now we have the tariff dip.
So here's the crazy thing, right? So we was filming today, and I'm looking at my phone. So at 9:30, I look at my phone, and the Dow is down 1,400 points, 1,500 points, something like that. Everything is going crazy. And I see Nvidia have reached this
got down to 86.
It's 52-week low. It's like 86.
Yeah, it opened at 87 today.
It got down.
Stock club, them prices hitting or what? Oh, real quick, if you never want to have to worry about where to buy in the market again and don't want to have to rely on buy the dip, go to ianinvest.com.
The only way. The numbers sound crazy until they hit. So Nvidia was down. QQQ was almost at a 52-week low. Everything was just down. And then something crazy happened. I looked back and like 45 minutes later, and the Dow was up 800 points and everything was in green. I'm like, yo, something must have happened. Like I told Troy, like something must have happened. So I'm looking for news articles. I couldn't find what happened. So we found out that it was a fake news report that came out that they're going to delay tariffs for 90 days. That's why the market went back up. But then once they found out that was actually fake, then the market goes back down. Then it kind of came back up again.
This isn't real, bro.
So, okay. Opportunities, yes. There's opportunities in every crisis. You know, it's unfortunate that some people will lose their homes and
for sure
be eating cat food.
For sure.
People eat cat food during recession.
Nah, didn't he say that the people in Ohio was eating cat food? Oh, they were eating their dogs?
Dogs.
They were eating
Dogs.
their dogs.
They're eating the dogs.
They're eating the dogs in Colorado.
They're eating the dogs.
Get the dogs.
But some people don't care about that. They just want to make money. So for the people that have no heart, and no compassion,
this is for you,
and just want to make money, this is for you guys.
Yes.
Okay. What should they invest in? What should they be buying a dip?
All right. Here's the optimist point of view, right? First of all, this doesn't happen, right? Fake news
by
like
accident.
That, like by accident.
They said it on CNBC this morning.
But what it does say is that there's trillions of dollars on the sideline. I think they said like over $8 trillion. So the liquidity is there to be invested if they can see that there's a bottom, or if there's any sort of good news, which is promising, right? That means that that R word maybe not there. I know they keep talking about unemployment. They got to wait to see unemployment. They don't see people losing jobs in the mass numbers. But the money on the sideline is there. When we saw, I mean, it went up 800 points in what, 2 minutes, 3 minutes?
Yeah,
which is crazy. That was a 1,600 point swing, which is crazy, right? It just doesn't really happen in real time. The other thing is that, especially because we talk about technology a lot, when you see recessionary environments, usually the first sector that sells off, right, and has a huge decline, a lot of times is the first one to start ticking back up.
For sure.
Right. And so if we've seen, like I said, there's been a couple of catalysts, that deep sea catalyst at the end of January, we saw a dip. The tariffs came, we see a further dip. Inside of semis, inside of everything inside that AI economy. If we start seeing things move up, I know NVIDIA, like you said, it opened at $86. Tomorrow, it looks like it's going to open up at just under $100. We start seeing things like that tick up. And this is without any real good news because the tariffs are still there. European Union, we'll see what happens with the news. But if we start seeing things tick up, especially in that AI space, since it was the biggest sell-off from January and now, I will again go back and look into these because it's still the dominant story. Like you said,
what should they buy? What should they buy? Tell them the stocks to buy.
let me let the beat build.
Tell them the stocks.
No, let me let the beat build. Let the beat. Yo, you sound like you're on.
Let's
get right to it.
Yeah, you remember the Wiz, the commercial? Didn't he sound like Crazy Eddie?
For sure. But this is what the people want to know. Okay, NVIDIA, 89.39. This is a level to buy. All the smart money is waiting on the sideline. Okay, here's what I do know about the stock market. There's trillions of data points that are printed every year in the market. There's no such thing as coincidence. So for everyone to hit buy at a time when there was that much asymmetric risk to reward on the table, it's not accidental. Never have, will, never will be. 89.39 is where I like NVIDIA.
NVIDIA is the first one.
For
Broadcom
sure.
is my second one. Even if you look at what it's done over the past 2 days, even with the tariffs, Broadcom is in that category. I love it. TSM is at a point right now at 143 that I love it at. TSM is in there. Again, we're going over the things that we've already said. Like this is what's going to lead us into the next. I love Netflix. I've said this for the past 2 to 3 months now. Love Netflix. That is definitely in a portfolio. Buying shares, definitely buying shares.
Yep.
And Meta. Those would be. And Microsoft just hit its 52-week low, so I'm going to add that into it. But Netflix is probably outside
top 3
video. It's in my top 3.
Top 3 for sure.
Yeah.
Broadcom, I would get at 128.82. I agree with the Netflix. Got to give Meta a lot of kudos for being up. That telecom sector on fire, smoking on Apple boots today. And then once again, a non-American company, TSM, gives you probably the greatest value if it gets back down to 136.91. I love it, but I wouldn't mind taking it tomorrow if it drops to like 141.82. So NVIDIA, Broadcom, TSM, Netflix. I'm good. Apple, sit your ass on the bench.
You benching them?
Sit
I'm
your
not
ass
mad.
on the
I'm
bench.
not mad benching them short term, right? They're already
Yeah,
in my
short term.
multi-
Yeah. Right now.
with the stocks. But I don't know if this is the floor. I think there's some
No.
more to
Nowhere
go.
near. Nowhere
Yeah,
near.
somebody's putting Palantir in the chat. Yeah,
Cap.
Palantir would be in the 10 for sure. So the Chinese AI and e-commerce stocks are doing pretty well. If you think about it, right? If we start putting tariffs and they start saying, all right, well, we're going to find other customers, Alibaba makes a lot of sense. They've been doing pretty well.
And didn't a bunch of hedge fund managers at the end of last year and the top of this year start and put a bunch of money into Baba and Chinese stocks as if they almost knew there was going to be this rebalancing of Chinese greatness versus American equities? Allegedly.
Allegedly on its way.
The merch coming soon.
Yeah, shout out to everybody.
I will say this too.
Hold on, really quick, because they put in the chat. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Yes, I'm still in those companies: VST, VRT, Arista. Why did I say that we take our leaps out further, right, to the end of 2026, end of 2027?
It's a great lesson
for these moments.
Reasons, exactly.
I've been telling you, volatility is something that we can't control. Catalyst events are something that we can't control. This is why you never see, hey, Troy, you put that option call out for 2 months. You put it out for 3 months. Nah, man, I put it out for 2 years. Just because there's going to be volatility, it will be catalyst events, and it's going to present sometimes opportunities to say, hey, I can buy this at another price. I get an additional call, and we'll ride the equity on the way back up to its glory.
So those are a lot. Those are a lot of stocks. Hopefully, you guys took notes. But I will say this: I was listening to Josh Brown. And he just confirmed. I think I didn't know this officially, but I was saying this already. But it makes sense. During times of markets draws down, more people invest in index funds and ETFs, which makes a lot of sense because you're going for a safe play. So in the ETF realm, I think you got to like QQQ. Like I said today, it was almost at its 52-week low, and the thing about it is that has, 5 of the largest tech companies in the world inside of it, right? So that's a safe, relatively, quote unquote, nothing is safe in the stock market, but that's a safer way to go about it. I think you have to like QQQ and SMH also. If you believe in NVIDIA and you believe in TSM, that gives you exposure to the semiconductor space. And that's down a lot as well.
Yeah.
So those are 2 ETFs that I think that you have to like. But I will say this too. This is my personal opinion, especially if Trump continues this tariff thing. This is not we have not seen the bottom. I think if we go into a recession, the stock market is going to go lower. So once stocks are down 30 and 25 and 40%, I think you have to start putting money in. But that doesn't necessarily mean you have to put everything,
all your money,
all your life savings in.
Yeah.
So you should still be dollar cost averaging, because there's a world where we can actually go lower than we are now, especially on the S&P 500, because that still hasn't really, it cracked bear market today, but I think it came back a little bit. I don't think it's officially 20%. So the S&P still has room to go. So I think that you have to start putting money into the stock market for sure, but don't think that tomorrow is going to go back to regular. Like if he says tariffs is, I made a mistake, I'm backing off,
the market's going to take it. Yeah.
But if he says, okay, 90 days, 60-day pause, then you might see a strong uptick. But if he continues on this pathway of suicide, it's gonna keep going further.
I think I'd be interested to see how long this is sustainable. I can't see this going into the summer. I can't even see it going to June in this manner where there's so much uncertainty. It doesn't help anybody really. So I think there'll be something that happens relatively shortly. And I agree with you. I think if it's something where it's like, I'm going to back down, I probably made a mistake here, which he will never admit to. I think you see a double-digit day in a lot of the indexes, right? So,
but he's not going to do that.
Exactly. I don't think he'll ever do that. But even putting a 90-day delay on it, it really still leaves uncertainty, because 90 days from now, what happens? It's just like TikTok.
And he can change his mind at any time.
TikTok was a 75-day ban. It came to us and said, you know what, we're going to extend it. China said, you know what, we're done negotiating. We're not selling it.
So, worst case scenario, SPY 438.
Yeah. Cramer had S&P going down to 4,000.
Cramer.
I got a theory. Rashad, go ahead.
Whatever Cramer says do the exact opposite.
He a legend. But
He's sure, and a kind person, but these last 8 years,
allegedly,
he's made a lot of mistakes, but he's been at this for a while.
What has he done that's made him a legend?
Amazing trader, worked at Goldman, and then in 2007, 2008, he literally called the recession happening and that the bankers were messing up the economy, and which led to the street kind of like redirecting and getting on a White Office line.
I was in terms of media, he'd probably be the first personality on television that was
popular
stocks and made almost halfway interesting to a certain population to learn about stocks. Having live call-ins, he's legendary in that sense.
Last 8 years though, Harold Miner for sure.
J.R. Ryder.
At best.
J.R. Ryder.
Okay.
I saw his all the smoke.
I mean, everybody makes mistakes, right? But you speak of 2008. In 2008, Bear Stearns, remember them?
Yep.
Bear Stearns is fine. Do not take your money out.
I remember the episode. Yeah.
Lehman Brothers.
He's made mistakes.
Remember them? 2008. We talked about 2008.
No, I didn't say. He didn't say 2008.
Extremely bullish on Lehman Brothers. Extremely bullish.
He got NVIDIA, right? You got to give him credit for that.
What year?
Give him credit for that.
2012.
No. Stay there.
Netflix. House of Pain. Time to Sell.
Yeah.
Legendary. Meta 2000.
Hey yo, this is the power of AI right here.
For sure.
Nah, he's got again. We all make mistakes.
Kind guy. Yeah, kind brother. Well, not brother.
He said not a legend.
Shout out to Cramer.
Shout out to
allegedly.
Shout out to my dog Frank Holland again. He was up 5 a.m. this morning.
Okay. Allegedly. Legendary
nut.
Allegedly. I'm not giving these dudes credit no more, man. You supported this nonsense, man. Like we gotta sometimes in life you gotta take responsibility for the shit. You enabled this lunatic that's running the White House, man. You gotta hold some level of responsibility. It's time that Bill Ackman, DI must die. That's what he was championing.
And then he called in CNBC in 2020 talking about the world gonna go to hell. Man, you foul.
And made $6 billion off of it.
Foul as hell.
Yeah.
Enough is enough. Okay.
Yeah, we got a text.
It's Ian's fault.
We got a text.
Let's talk about
I saw it. I saw the text. I'm waiting for him to acknowledge it.
But I will say this about NVIDIA. You have to really like NVIDIA. If you believe in the AI story, right? If you believe in the story of AI and you have people like Bill Gates who's saying that AI will be the most important technology in human history.
Sure.
And you have, like I said, I mean, China is investing in their youth when they're teaching 6-year-olds artificial intelligence.
They're investing in the education of it.
If you believe in AI, if you believe in the story of AI, if you believe that AI will be the future, right? If you believe that, you have to like NVIDIA when it's almost 45% down.
There's nothing
there's only 3 companies that matter in the AI race.
There's nothing to talk about. The numbers that it's at now, I mean, what it was at today, there really isn't nothing to talk about. Even if you're not buying options, you should be having shares of it for sure.
What's the 3 companies that matter in the AI race? TSM,
NVIDIA, TSM, and then probably Broadcom fourth as a dark horse. Those are the 3 though. NVIDIA, TSM, Microsoft for sure.
Those are the ones that are leading for sure. Yeah.
Those are the ones that are going. And I want to be clear because I brought the NVIDIA trade up before y'all. Everybody wants to get jacketed. The next 10 years, they are going to have the lion's share of the AI race. Trust me. We just left GTC. Want to remind you, there is no close competitor. No. Told AMD, Lisa, maybe time. Hey. Bundle it up.
We got to talk to Lisa. I got to call Lisa.
AMD is looking very.
I got
shambles.
I got shares.
Shambles.
1,000 shares.
Shambles. But that's why SMH is good because it's always risky when you own individual stocks. Individual stocks are risky. That's just across the board. So the ETFs provide more diversification and it provides a safety net. And you can still be specific. I'm only investing in this company, this sector, right? But SMH, you would have been
Yep,
better
safety.
with SMH than with AMD specifically. AMD is
They're just having a tough time.
free falling.
Having a tough time.
Now is not the time to invest in outlier. I know somebody asked about quantum. There are no real quantum players that are in the lead yet. And please don't invest in the 6th or 7th best AI company. You are going to get demolished if China retorts and say, okay, 80% tariffs on you.
Yeah, I just don't know where it stops. Right? Like where does it stop? We're at 104 now.
104% for China.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that before we end this tariffs conversation. So Trump announced that China announced 35% retaliatory tariffs yesterday, 2 days ago, on top of the tariffs that they already have on America. And in response, Trump told them, like, don't
if you respond.
Trump, this guy's legendary. He drops the tariffs last week and says no country, it would be wise not to respond. Don't even think about it. China responds. He said, I told you not to respond. 50% additional tariffs on you guys by Wednesday if you don't take away the 34%. That would bring the total tariffs to China to 102%?
104.
104%. 104% on tariffs for China. The crazy thing about this is that, I'm building a home right now, and it's been a rush on people that's trying to build homes, like as far as little stuff that you don't even think about. The faucets for the sink, bathtubs, shower heads, all that stuff comes from overseas. So they're already sending out emails like these furnitures and appliances places already sending out emails like, please expect at least a 20% increase due to inflation. My GC, I asked him about the wood, and he told me, he said, yo, it's a good thing that you already, purchased it, because if you was buying it now, it would be at 20%. It's coming from Canada. Higher. Now, I've spent over $100,000 in wood. So that's $20,000. That's a lot of money. So 104% tariffs, that's crazy. So what's the deal with this?
China just replied now and said pressure and threats are not the way to engage. The thing in any fight, in any war, I'm never worried about the person who acts the toughest. I'm worried about the person who's going to be a calm and measured killer. Other than the army part, China has us dead to rights. Arguably, and if you're looking at the Apple issue, by 34, put in ChatGPT. What is the probability of Huawei surpassing Apple as the #1 smartphone in the world by 2034? They're playing at a different level.
They got a chance, for sure.
So I think this is what happens when you lead with ego and not strategy. A lot of times, like my mom and dad be like, hey, measure 4 times, cut 1. And if you choose to go to war, don't just factor in what you're going to do on your attack. What are they going to do to reply to you? Everyone always wants to be the shooter and a tough guy. What are you going to do when they shoot back and it's 19 of them that's shooting at you? This is not sustainable, and not a time that we should be doing this at a time when debt's GDP is at its highest. Americans have fallen out of love with America. Our job market is weak. And when we get to the point where, like, even the deep fake thing, that was a fictional at worst and had some sauce on it at best, and moved our market damn near into bear correction territory off of a rumor. This Walter Bloomberg thing sent the market up off of a rumor. It tells you how weak our economy is. So if he doesn't come forward with some fair deals, it's going to be over with for us. And at some point, that party is going to have to decide if they're going to make him step down or not.
That's why I said at some point when does Congress step in? Because they do have they can change this.
Well, I spoke to a congressperson today.
They're not going to change it.
No,
what happened?
What they said was that they're going to try to put pressure on the speaker, and then
Mike Johnson,
the speaker, came out and said that he's not doing anything.
Yeah.
So good luck with that. But I will say this, because I know this is something that can. So okay. So yes, we told you guys some stocks that you might be able to buy, right? We told you some ETFs that you might be able to buy. We told you that, yeah, you got to put money into the market. But the other question is, should I sell stocks right now? If I have a 401k, should I be cashing out? This lady told me the other day, that she was like, I lost too much money in my 401k. I seen it going down. I cashed out. Like I just put it in the money market. Don't sell. Hold the line. Hold the line. Do not. The number one rule is don't sell when you're down. Please. That is the number one thing. Do not sell when you're down. Wait it out. If you can wait it out. Wait it out. It might take 6 months. It might take a year. It might take 5 years. I don't know, depending on what you're invested in. But man, try not to sell. This is just a golden rule. Try not to sell when you're down, because that you're never going to have an opportunity to make that money back, right? So usually, if you're invested correctly, you'll get back to where you were previously. Mm-hmm. Like I said, it might take some time, but don't panic sell. Panic selling is highly unrecommendable. Warren Buffett, when he sold, that's different. He's already up. He made a bunch of money. He's selling profit and he's sitting on cash. He's not selling when you just down 40% in a long-term hold. Now, if you're in an option, that's a little different. But if you're in a long-term hold
investment,
especially something like a retirement account, do not liquidate. Don't liquidate your position.
It's true. Hold on.
The only exception to that rule would be is if you're about to retire in less than 6 months.
Well, that was going to the question, because I noticed something that you've dealt with, obviously, with having clients in your past, is that some people will say that I don't have the time, right? Like I'm retiring next year, or I'm about to retire. Like you said, maybe June is my last day, especially if I'm in education. Some people will say I don't have the time.
You shouldn't be invested in that anyway. So that's the thing.
It's conservative at that time.
So in retirement, you want to be aggressive when you're young and conservative when you get older. You shouldn't be aggressive when you're older anyway. So you should at the very least probably be in a 50-50 portfolio anyway. But
real quick, even that's fucking decaying.
No, but the loss is not going to be the same.
I agree.
Right? It's not going to be the same. Like if you lose
35% or 38%
in a bond account, it's not going to be 45% in the tech account. That's life changing, right? So that's important for you guys that's close to retirement to understand. You got to reallocate your positions over the course of time, and you got to go into secure vehicles. Sometimes you got to go into annuities. You got to have guaranteed income. Like this. That's on the financial planning side. You shouldn't be 100% in stocks, in tech stocks,
upon retirement.
65 years old when you're about to retire. Like that's not advisable.
The option account probably not the best thing right now.
And I'll say this too, given all the contagion that's been happening the last 2 weeks, the VIX got to 45.
It's at 50 today.
Hit 50. I told everyone, put in chat, what's the key level I told you at Invest Fest, where it's time to start buying last August. Get your tickets to Invest Fest. Most of this route from the tariff war will be over in like 61 days or so. Set a timer.
Here's the question now, right? If we're talking about 104% tariffs on China, we obviously spoke about companies like Apple, but there's other companies that rely on China for production.
Nike's dead.
Well, the interesting the interesting thing about Nike is that China is an issue, but the bigger issue is Vietnam, right? Because 50% of their footwear comes from Vietnam. But Vietnam just got hit with the 46% tariff, right? Like it was a 90% tariff, and then his formula was like, we'll charge them half of what we've been.
They got Vietnam like 120 all in.
That's what I'm saying. So 50% of the footwear and 28% of the apparel comes from Vietnam. So that's not coming to America, right? When you talk about the cost of labor, the cost of factories, Nike will be better off just paying the tariff than building factories here and having labor come here. It would just be too expensive. The other part, and it was interesting, I saw economists say that the outcome of that, especially for a company like Nike, is that they won't look at America as their number one base going forward. They're going to try to find another economy. But the problem is America is the number one consumer of all products. And so that's going to be a tough pill for them to I was going to say swallow, but a tough feat.
We can be mature.
It's fine. We'll try for once, right? And so do you try to find another consumer base inside of a different market, i.e. in India, where you might be able to sell
Nike?
Well, I'm just saying in terms of population, you have population there. You cut the cost on the price of the product, and now you can sell more at a lower price. Or do you say, hey, I know we have America, we'll have limited quantity and we'll just charge more? because that's what
you're
waiting for.
Rashad, we're on a fast break.
I'm speaking about Nike specifically. Yes,
Nike's
Rashad,
done.
dead.
thank you.
They're done.
Dead.
They're done.
It's over with. I haven't said this in a long time. Nike is uninvestable. I have Nike going at $33
and dead.
If you get back to your 2005, 2006 lows, what is the catalyst to drive it higher?
Okay, so now let's flip it to Apple.
Before the Nike thing is dead for two reasons.
Go ahead.
They were already dead in America because kids are not wearing the sneakers and they have a cultural relevance problem and a variety of different things.
Lululemon, Aloe.
Those are getting kicked too. Lululemon is down. But even the apparel companies that carry these brands, JD Footwear, they've been taking a hit because most of their revenue comes from a company like Nike. But yeah, Lululemon's down. Aloe's, like, these are companies that are taking a hit too.
They already have problems domestically.
Right.
Then you get hit with tariffs. They're cool.
It's a double whammy. Pause. But yeah.
And on top of that, to the same Apple issue, what has Nike created in the last 4 years that you heard anybody when we traveled in the States say, damn, I can't wait to get that Nike arm sleeve?
The Nike arm sleeve, legendary. Now, before we go,
allegedly,
because it's the same thing. Now that I'm thinking in terms of product, right? 90% of production, even more so now in terms of Apple, is coming from China, right? 80%, I think, of the 90% of the iPhones, 80% of production. I think those are the numbers. So we used to say, like, it won't be a new product, it'll be a new market. And we thought India would be that market, but I'm not sure anymore, right? I think it has to be a mixture of maybe both. It has to figure out to be a product. If the tariffs stay in place.
No.
What happens?
But they don't. No. Nike got lit because of
not Nike. I'm talking about Apple now.
Oh, Nike's dead.
Yeah, we passed them.
Oh,
Apple.
Yeah.
Okay, I was about to say.
No, we done. We passed that.
If you're relying on the Indians to buy it.
No. Apple in terms
Air
of
Max, Air Max.
Shout out to Air Max 95 that just dropped.
Good luck with that.
Right, 100% tariff. That's tough.
And so you saying can India save Apple?
Where is the market? We've always said the final frontier is the continent. We know that, but from a consumer standpoint, the numbers are not going to match. So where is the market, or is there a product that they can get in?
Apple is the old guy at the club that's washed up who thinks getting a younger girl is a solution where you need to just be better yourself.
So they can't.
The issue is not going to a different continent that can help. The issue is, for sure, for the first time in a long time, Apple has not delivered on anything that they promised they would do in the last 4 or 5 years. Once again, that Apple intelligence product based on a commercial, if we launched that, we would be the biggest it would be a Ponzi. They delivered tech in a commercial that is not remotely in one standard deviation of possibility in the actual app. So you're shipping out a lie. I've never seen Apple do this. I haven't seen any tech company do this shit but Rivian, but because it's Apple, no one's talking about it like that. The issue is not a new continent or new country. It is better leadership on that software and AI side. And this is the crazy part. You have the war chest to go fucking buy Manus AI or DeepSeek or whomever, ChatGPT Z, if you wanted to. And haven't spent the money.
That's the question, right? So
you want to just park it in bonds for the next 15 years? Like, what are you doing?
So in the inverse to that is like a company like Amazon. Everybody high on Amazon, my favorite company. From an e-commerce standpoint, we know that tariffs affect the importers, right? Sure. Like the customers are going to feel that. Amazon has always led with, hey, we'll give you the best price and get you the product the quickest, right? Yep. So should we see or anticipate an uptick in the event of tariffs if they stay? Because it's really going to go to the customer anyway, right? They're almost like a third-party distributor at that point.
That's a fact. But let me ask you this, because this is another question people have.
Oh, you didn't answer it.
Oh, there's a question?
Yeah.
I thought that was a statement.
I'm just saying thoughts around it.
No, I thought it was a statement.
I just want to hear thoughts around it. What y'all thought?
Oh, what'd you say?
Apple? Amazon.
Repeat the question.
I said in times like this, right? In terms of tariffs, Amazon being in e-commerce, we know that tariffs are going to affect the actual importer, right? So the person that's bringing it in, they're acting as a third party consumer at this point because they're shipping it to you. They've always been on lower price. And so the small business that has to pay that won't be able to do that. That will bring more business to Amazon. Would we? I mean, it might be advantageous. Obviously, I hold large shares in Amazon, but even in this environment, this seems like an attractive place to put some money in. No?
Rashad, you want to go first? Because I got an interesting take that I want to bring up about Amazon.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm not.
That's what we're here for.
Amazon's not on my top.
Really?
Amazon has been go ahead, Rashad. My apologies.
But not your top what?
Okay. And
let's wake it up.
This you got to go with the starting five.
What?
Like you down by 20 points, you go with the starting five to get back into the game.
Mm-hmm.
Amazon for me is not in my starting five.
Who's your five?
Nvidia,
Pow.
Microsoft,
Pow.
TSM,
You cooking? Ooh.
and
That's the big three right there. Ooh, boy, what?
Big three. It's just big me. I'm gonna go with QQQ.
No, it's just stocks, not ETFs.
That's the rebound, but you need a rebounder. You got to get 30 points.
No, just stocks, because Amazon's just. I could say
TSM,
but those are mine. Those are my picks. You know that.
Yeah.
Netflix.
Boy, hold on. What? Damn. See, you can throw in anybody at this point.
The fact that you have to wait to think of
Meta.
You're taking.
I'll take Meta.
You take Meta right now.
That's for
sure. I'll take Meta over Amazon.
Who has the biggest monopoly outside of Apple and Nvidia? I'll put those two. I'll wait.
Labusi.
You meant Amazon, right?
Yeah.
You meant Amazon, right? In terms of sector dominance, and when they come into a space, they take over multiple sectors.
Which leads me to my point.
I'm just saying, who else outside of Apple,
Microsoft,
Nvidia? Do they have a monopoly?
What?
On what? What's the monopoly on?
What they have? What? That open AI? That shit that's running the race.
Google has a monopoly.
On what?
Search.
You just ChatGPT.
No, but they're not. That's not comparable to Google.
It's a decaying monopoly for sure.
500 million people using ChatGPT daily.
The two biggest search engines are Google and YouTube.
Yeah,
and Google owns YouTube.
But that's declining. We already know that. So it's not really a monopoly if you're
Google
already declining.
But YouTube, that's a hell of a hedge.
No,
that's like digital Bitcoin, yo.
But somebody's knocking on that door, right?
For sure.
If
ChatGPT come out with like a video,
that door's getting kicked in.
Interesting stat. 2016 percentage of top sellers in China in Amazon, 24%. 2017, 22%. 2019, 33 to 38%. And 2020, percentage of sellers based in China, 42%. Right now, it's estimated that 49% of sellers on Amazon's platform are in China.
Mm-hmm.
That isn't scary.
That's dangerous.
That percentage.
That's dangerous.
Of sellers, and also we're not even going to break down who's making.
That's not surprising when you just made the point. Like everything that we buy is made where?
In China.
For sure, but
like if China,
it's an American company.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
If they decide to be like, no, you're done. We're going to do our own. Like at least Meta's not dependent on China. That's actually kind of helpful.
Yes.
I don't know.
So if Amazon has already been.
Well, I'm not sure if it's just depending on China because you're just talking about the e-commerce business. AWS is something totally different.
That's the e-commerce is a major part.
It's a major part, but AWS is just as major.
And for what we just saw walking around,
yeah, but they're in there, but that's what I'm saying, and they're in there too. And if you looked at Nvidia's partners, that name was there. Mm-hmm. We saw that. You know whose name wasn't there? You see what I'm saying?
Oh, for sure.
So it sounds good. Like those companies sound good. I'm not knocking your five. Your five is your five, but.
Yeah,
to throw them out like nah, bro.
Those five are fire though. I'm
not knocking it. I'm just saying
hell of a lineup.
One of them. We're not going to treat them like they not
for sure. But their issue is profit margins. But
why is the profit margin that low? Because capital expenditure. They're always growing. They're always building, which is part of business. We can't.
For sure.
They one of them ones, man. I'm standing on that. Who with me?
But I'll be clear, Amazon ain't fucking with Nvidia on no day.
I didn't say that.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying outside of Apple and Nvidia, the monopoly space, when they come into a space, they come to dominate. They come to take over. We've seen it, right?
If they jack my down, they still had a lead.
They still have space to grow because healthcare is something that they haven't just come in and dominated yet. When you add their AI services to healthcare, watch out.
So let's do this because we got 12,000 people on here, so we got to add maximum value. It's a few things that we definitely have to talk about. One thing that people are asking about is a bottom, right? That's when is a market bottom going to happen? So this is dependent on a few different factors. I think the number one factor is if he pulls back on tariffs or not.
Yes.
Yep.
But the only thing that could make him pull back on tariffs is if he has enough political pressure or enough. Three things can make him pull back on tariffs. I think public pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
If he sees his poll numbers start going down to 30%, that's going to hurt. Political pressure, that might be the weakest out of the three because he doesn't care. And
they're scared of him.
The third is business pressure. So the business pressure is already coming. When you see Bill Ackman, there's a bunch of CEOs that said that if we go into a bear market, they're going to start publicly calling for changes in the White House. And we've seen Elon Musk. He did it in a roundabout way, but he criticized the White House.
He wanted the 0 tariff with Europe.
Yep.
He said that Navarro has no idea what he's doing. So
they laughed at him. They called him a car assembler.
That's disrespectful.
I'm like, yo, this is a wealthy. Okay,
that's disrespectful.
That's what they said.
Allegedly.
No, that's not alleged. That's literally what they said. The head of
Navarro.
No, about the wealthiest part.
Oh yeah, okay, that part. Yeah.
You know, the Navarro part real. Yeah.
So, two-part question here. Will the pressure from business and all the three of those aspects get to the point where he has to reverse course, or is he going to stay on some mad kingship? And
good question.
What is a potential bottom that we could see in the market? Nasdaq.
Nasdaq. So, let me take the second one first because it's the easiest to answer. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest enough. I can see worse. Okay, let me be measured. This is absolute worst case scenario. It does not mean that Ian Dunlap or Red Panda or any of the subsidiaries thinks this will happen. But if I was a measured man, I can see a world where 15,250, 250 is possible for Nasdaq. Not saying it's going to happen.
15,250. I mean, that could happen tomorrow. 15,000.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
It's 15,600 now. That could happen literally.
No. I'm looking at the future. It says 17,727.
Yeah. The futures is higher,
and Nasdaq futures.
Yeah, and the futures they're pointing higher for tomorrow's open too.
Yeah,
which is a good sign.
And then if we're just looking at what SPY, I can see worst case scenario, us dropping to like 404.70.
So that's not far up to 4,000 that Cramer was in.
Because what's going to happen if we drop to those levels? Once you see because China and a few indexes overseas, Nikkei, they're moving, which is interesting. The circuit breaker from 5% to 8%, I don't think we'll do that. But I do think if we get there in a speedy enough time, they'll start to hit those circuit breakers, let the money come in, and they won't do quantitative easing. But I think there will be some like institutional flow that comes in to buy it up so we aren't at a level. Now, the thing that will make, go ahead.
No, I was saying, who'd you say the circuit breaker for us?
No, and the Nikkei index, they've moved in Shanghai, they've moved from 5 to 8%. Gotcha. But I do think they're going to do everything they can from us going into this recession. But if it looks like he can put us in a recession and his party starts to signal, we want you out of office, that's the only thing that's going to make him change. I told you guys from the very beginning, him and Elon, and shout out to those GB in my comments like, yo, Elon was supposed to only be there from 180 days. I'll talk to somebody who direct reports for Elon. That's not true. I'm going to go on my Rashad rant. I'm tired of y'all telling me things that I'm learning from people who run these. Like, I talked to somebody in the White House the night of the White House and told everybody in Stock Club the election was over 5 hours before NBC. Red Panda, yes or no? All the talking is cool. Y'all were telling me 7 weeks ago Nvidia couldn't go to 95. I'm telling you, there's a different plan, and a bunch of these politicians and businessmen have sold their assets as a hedge. There's high level treason and espionage going on right now. Not on accident. Allegedly.
There's a Mad King, and there's going to be a Jamie Lannister. We don't know who it's going to be, but somebody got to stop this. There's got to be somebody.
We need a Kendrick Lamar in that office.
We need a Jamie
immediately.
It's real. I mean, it's tough to predict about them when you're dealing with somebody who is irrational, right? Like literally irrational. Like 50. Tomorrow it could be like, we're adding another 50.
So nobody can make him stop.
I don't see a person. He doesn't fear them. It actually is the inverse. They actually fear him, which is why they won't speak up or they won't try to stop him or get in his ear. Well, who?
Putin. Hefe make him shut up.
Hefe.
White Hefe? Shit. That's Debo.
So I thought that something might come up today's meeting. He met with
Netanyahu.
He met with him today about tariffs, and I think Israel had a 17% tariff. So they came to discuss that. I was interested in seeing what would come from that. I didn't hear any news about that.
No, he said Netanyahu said whatever y'all want to do, whatever America wants to do.
He's good with that. Yeah, what I saw was the Dodgers visiting the White House and him playing golf on the weekend.
Oh yeah.
Netanyahu said that they're going
to go with the 17%. All right.
I mean, do they have a choice?
Right. I'm just saying. I don't know how the meeting
just got $50 billion.
I'm thinking like,
yo, put up too much of a fight.
Or is it like, we might raise that to 30? I just don't know what to do. Every day is a new thing.
Okay. We'll see. Okay. So the other question. Okay. So there is opportunities in every crisis.
Yes.
So okay, yeah, buying stocks right now, that's opportunity. Okay, we established that. But another thing that could be a potential opportunity is that when Caleb had said last week, but a lot of people are saying this now as far as interest rates. We gotta see what Jerome Powell is going to do, but they said it may. So if they do drop interest rates, which a lot of people think that may happen, I've already contacted Matt. I actually own something I'm going to do a cash out refi on, and I contacted Matt, and I'm waiting to see if this happens because refinances will go up tremendously.
Talk about it.
Because you got to understand, like your house, this is what he always says, right? The equity in your house is pretty much monopoly money. It's not guaranteed to be there. If we have a housing crash, that equity is going to go down. So it makes sense to tap into it if you could use the money or do something smart with it, or So I think we're going to see a lot of people refinancing. If interest rates are lower, for sure, that would be helpful for people that have equity inside their homes, and then of course people buying new homes as well. So what's the chances of interest rates being lower?
Sure, I think we're both in the same boat. We have no clue. We have any guidance they ever have given in the last few years has been off. There's a lot of debt that we need to refinance, so I don't know if they'll drop the interest rates. It's really tricky because Powell is in a tough position where if we drop the rates, everyone's going to buy everything up and prices are going to increase exorbitantly. But isn't the new average APR for home now 6.75%?
Yeah, it got down to 6.5 at one point last week, which is the lowest it's been in about 2 years.
Yeah.
It's
coming down.
It's coming. I mean, yeah. At one point last year was at 7.5. So
yeah,
when you talk about a full percent, I'm with you. I mean, if you have equity in your home, it might be a nice opportunity as you start to see the economy moving back and forth, and there might be a 2 week or 3 week span where you see them drop down to 6. I mean, it's better to be prepared, so you can take advantage of that.
Yeah, but as far as rates, I have no clue.
Mike's at 5.9 on Thursday. Yeah, so I mean, it was there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
And then
but
the
if that does happen, then that's going to be helpful for people that are looking to refinance their homes.
Yeah, and then the Fed rate, I know that was something he said May 7th, and I said everybody circle your calendar May 7th. We'll see what Powell says. It went from the chances of having maybe 2 rate cuts this year to now I think an 80% chance that there'll be a 3rd rate cut to kind of offset some of these tariffs, because
I don't believe that.
yeah, inflation was coming down, unemployment was at coming down, and then you have this.
You got to diversify your citizenship also. That's important.
Been telling y'all forever. Hope y'all listen.
Diversify your citizenship. Like, we're really serious about this Ghana thing. And I was talking to Keys yesterday. I was just like, yo, I mean, you got to give the country credit. They're the only country that I know of that's ever actually had a plan to actually recruit Black Americans. That alone is something that's pretty impressive.
Yep.
And it's like really easy to move around. It's safe. It's opportunities. Like, this Ghana thing is, we're serious about Ghana. Like, we're all in on Ghana for a reason. By the way, like for a reason. For a reason. It's not
hedge.
It's not just for the jollof rice, by the way.
Which is amazing, but
for sure. But
yeah.
It's a little bit more than that.
We'll be home soon.
Yeah. I was with Francois Friday, and somebody she knew who worked in government got their visa blocked from playing 2 months in advance. I'm telling you, like, now is not the time to be like, I'm going to hunker down in America. If you have the opportunity and the money to invest outside of the country, even walk around here, oh my, it's so peaceful. You wouldn't think a tariff was even happening around here. Yeah. You have to invest in another country, yo. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you have to.
Because the opportunities, it's once again, it's the risk reward ratio. Like, you got to realize, like, we're at the tail end of this American dynasty. I mean, that's just a fact, right? I don't want to be an alarmist, but I mean, everybody says that we're at the tail end of it. Are we going to be like, a third world country? No, we'll still be, it still be a sustainable environment, but your opportunity is getting more difficult. Let's just say that. And you go to some of these countries and it's just the opportunities are abundant and they're at the beginning stages.
Yeah.
We're not at the beginning stages. Like, we're there at the beginning. Like, I feel like in Ghana, they still at the beginning stages. Like, you could still actually go out there and make a bunch of money and opportunities and meet people and end up in the government's office within a week if you play your cards right. So yeah, that's my plan.
And the demographic of people that are moving and shaking are like middle-aged, right? There's a middle-aged conglomerate of people that are actually making moves and making decisions for the country in totality. And a lot of people in business are middle-aged. So that's encouraging, right? Because that means that they have a different mindset. They have a different perspective, right? And they've had the tutelage of their elders, and now they can see what technology and what infrastructure and what business structure can do. And they're bringing that. A lot of them came to America for education or went to the UK for education and went right back home, and they brought that education with them, which is important. And now they're going to take advantage of that. And so it's important to be a part of it.
And I will say this too about some geopolitical opinions. This is just my opinion, but this last 100 years has been it's been the rule of democracy. Democracy has pretty much ran things, right? Well, I think now going forward for the next 100 years, it's going to be communism, socialism, and kingdoms that's going to run it, because China is a communist country. And then if you look at Saudi Arabia, that's a kingdom. If you look at UAE, that's a kingdom. So everything has ebbs and flows.
Yep.
This next 100 years is going to be that, because having a king is not a bad thing as long as you have a good king. There's some people that need to be like, one of the biggest problems with Africa is democracy, because they have a false sense of democracy that's propped up by Western governments, and they have corrupt leaders. And then every 4 years they reset. Like Ibrahim Traoré, he needs to appoint himself president for at least 20 years. He needs a 20-year run, right? Because it's like he's doing all this stuff in Burkina Faso, and then it's like, okay, what good is it if 2 years he gets replaced and then they're gonna have another corrupt leader and it's gonna go back? Like, you have when you have somebody good, you got to stay with that one person. He should be president or the leader for at least 20 years, my opinion.
What was the peak year? My bad.
He should actually probably be the leader of the whole entire continent. That's what me and Keys were saying. Like, they should appoint him leader of Africa. Like, he's the one. He's the chosen one.
What was the peak year for the United States of America? I want to ask you guys, and everybody in chat, like, in your opinion, what was the top 4? If Buffett was like trading America, what would be the year he would have exited?
The year he would have exited?
That's a good one.
I think. Can I just give you a decade?
I'm good with that.
I'm gonna go the 90s.
What,
Rashad?
from a cultural standpoint or from a business standpoint?
Combination.
Investing standpoint. Yeah, at the early stages of a lot of these tech companies, we saw obviously during the Clinton administration, stock market went crazy, and at the end of the decade, the very tail end, we had that crash. Well, that kind of went like 99, 2000. So I would say 90, kind of like hip hop, like 92 to 98.
I'm gonna go year 2000, right before 9/11.
Same.
Year 2000. That's when you could go to the airport on some just running the airport. Now you got to take your shoes off.
Yeah, for real.
Change your personal.
No. My personal favorite is the year 1996.
That was
1995 and 1996. That's my personal favorite. That's the best year for me ever as far as culture. But if I'm looking at it objectively, if I was to sell high, year 2000. When the ball dropped, you should have listened. Remember?
For sure.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying 90.
That's when it was really over.
That's why I'm saying 92 to 98, because you riding that all the way up to 98, and all right, 99, I'm good. By the time 2000 comes, it's like I'm just sitting on the cash.
Yeah. Down.
What if the real Y2K was the destruction of America from that point going forward? Everybody was worried about the computers crashing and your compacts going under.
Yo, I just had a conversation about that. We remember that they were like, yo, the computer systems don't go past 1999. What's going to happen to the banking system?
Yeah.
Bitcoin.
12 years later.
Bitcoin.
Yep.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, 2000.
My kids just asked me about that. Like, Dad, what was the 2000 like? You graduated in 2000?
Lit.
I'm like, it was a good time.
Ooh, boy.
It was a good time. We thought the world.
Culturally, yeah, 95, 96. Ooh,
but here's another thing, too, because I mean, I don't know. You're saying we sparking too much fear. What you want me to tell you a lie? I'm just telling you the truth. Like, we have luxuries that we're afforded as America because we're the number one country. When we're not the number one country, we're not going to have those luxuries anymore. Like, look, I travel. This is not. Look,
this is the headline, right? China says it will fight to the end. Fight to the end after Trump threatens 50% higher tariffs. They said the U.S. threat to escalate tariffs on China is a mistake on top of a mistake. China will never accept it. If the U.S. insists on its own way, China will fight to the end.
Yeah, well, we'll see. But here's the thing. You're gonna have to deal with some inconvenient, like even things like language. We're spoiled in America because everybody has to learn English in some form or fashion. So we don't have to learn a second language. Almost every part of the world is forced to learn second language. You go to almost any part of the world and people know at least 2 languages, sometimes 3, 4, 5 languages, depending on where you're at. Americans don't really know one language because we don't really know English. Really. The average American reads on a 5th grade level, struggles with spelling and reading comprehension and understanding. So even we speak broken English anyway. So it's like the English that we speak is not even really the correct English. Like the Queen's English that they speak in the UK and even Canada, some of the words is different. We went to England, like they have different words in the same language. Even stuff like progress, right? We say progress. There's no A in progress. Why are we saying progress? The way you say it is progress. So we already don't really even know our language. If we're not the number one country in the world anymore, you're going to have to start learning Mandarin. You're going to have to start learning some other languages because you're not afforded that luxury. I learned that when I went to Hong Kong. Every other place I went to in Asia, they spoke English. I went to Hong Kong. They're like, yo, we're not catering to you.
Adjust. Yep. To our culture. Yep.
That was the first time in life that I ever felt like a foreigner. Like our metric system, we use everything that we do.
It's
like
broken.
We use Fahrenheit. The rest of the world use Celsius. Everybody in the world uses Celsius. We use Fahrenheit. We tell, and that's another thing. Kids can't tell time. They're removing clocks out of schools because they don't teach you how to tell time anymore. You don't even know how to tell time. We got iPhones. Like the rest of the world uses military time.
But AI is going to help in all those things, though.
We don't know AI.
No, what I'm saying,
like, we're not even learning AI
in a sense of like learning language. Like, and it was crazy. We watched Speed. Shout out to I Show Speed. Like, he walked up to a woman in China. She spoke to him in Mandarin. His glasses translated and read to him what she was saying. So, like that learning curve.
Try to go. I've been to
China. That wasn't Apple's Vision Pro.
And
Go-
right. And it wasn't. What I'm saying,
go there as a black person. That's nice. I've been there.
I'm talking about anywhere.
But I'm saying I've been there. I've seen it.
I'm talking about anywhere in the world that the language barrier.
They're not going to treat you like ISO speed.
No, I'm not saying. I'm talking about the language.
You better learn. Because they're not going to be as.
There's not going to be 10,000 people chasing you. No, I'm just saying from a language barrier standpoint. Like even same thing in France. I've gone to places and it's like they're like, nah, bro. Like, no, we don't know English. But you just kind of add it like, how are we gonna figure this out? Let me get a Google Translate. But that's what I'm saying. Technology will start to ease that language barrier for not just China, not just but for the world.
If you black, have an umbrella when it's sunny, because you're gonna have the adversity. No matter, it's always gonna be a problem. You gotta prepare for the failure at the beginning.
Yep.
It's not gonna be easy. No matter what, they still gonna find a way to make AI racist.
Absolutely.
And
throttling the information.
I'm not denying any of that. All of course, in any place you go, like that. Being in America for sure, and you black in America, you understand that wholeheartedly. What I'm saying is that there is technology that is going to help that language barrier, just specifically that, but other things as well.
Like we use miles. Everything that we do is completely opposite. Nobody even realizes it. They use kilometers. Weights, we use pounds. They use like everything that we do is completely different for the rest of the world. We are spoiled because we don't have to adjust to the world. The world has to adjust to us. Well, at some point in time, that's going to change.
But England, that's what I'm saying. England thought the same thing, which is why America said we're going to do everything different.
Until it's not.
Yep.
Well, you're going to drive on the left side or the right side. It's either or.
Until it's not.
Or fly. They put the boy in a flying car. Do that. See how that go.
Yeah. All right. What did you learn today, ladies and gentlemen?
Nike's dead.
That's the first and most important thing. First and most important thing.
The Nikkei opened up 6% higher, which is a good sign.
Yep, it's a good sign. This will be up in 61 days.
That's a good sign.
For my traders in this market, hey, shout out to everybody who listened. I gave you the spot to exit on Friday. Shout out to everybody. A good day, New York. I appreciate y'all.
Rosanna Scott. Shout out to Rosanna Scott.
Yeah, shout out to her. Shout out to what y'all cooking.
Chill. Soon come.
Man, I rock with y'all. As soon as they get to talk, oh man, I ain't see. Ooh boy. Stay tuned to get your tickets to Invest Fest.
High level production.
Ooh, my lord. I said, damn, that's like 22 Raptors up there. For my traders, in the volatile market, you want to risk 1 to make 17. You want to risk 1 to make 17. Once again, if you're short in market, put your stop at the top because you don't want to get whipsawed out of a move. Shout out to those y'all who've been making coin. Keep it quiet to yourself. Tell all your families and friends you've been losing. I'm proud of y'all who've been running it up, though. You want to risk $1 to make 17, though, in these markets if you're trading to the downside. So, and if I made you money, please put yes in chat. If you never want to guess about where to go to get into the market, go to ianinvest.com. Call will be Wednesday. Our price has been hitting like crazy. So, if I made investing easier for you, let me get some fire in the chat, please. Please listen to execute and not listen to criticize.
That's a fact.
Yeah, that's it.
That's a fact.
There's this week this Friday starts earnings season again. We're here again. This will be interesting. The financials will start. BlackRock, I know, reports Friday, and we'll see a lot of the others report next week. But it'll be interesting to see what that deep seat catalyst that happened in January will be part of the quarter's report. So we'll start to see the real effects.
And it's all written. And you deserve to be rich.
Fact.
New York Times bestseller. Speaking of literacy rates, we do have audio book if you struggle with reading. So there's no excuse.
Yeah, reading and comprehension.
But reading is fundamental.
It is.
For sure.
Valuable skill.
For sure.
Never discount the fact that you are reading. I think that's something they asked. What's one thing that you would have told your younger self? Never discount the actual act of reading. So a lot of times I was reading the sports section and I was reading I used to read the newspaper back page to front page, because I always thought the sports was most interesting, and in the real news, I was like, all right, we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
Then reading the Source and reading Double XL and reading ESPN magazine. Not too many books until I got into like college, but the fact that I was reading, obviously it adds up, and you have a certain level of endurance that I think most kids lack. So never discount the fact of reading itself. And then you get into things that you actually enjoy reading, which changes it.
The average CEO reads one book a month.
Mm-hmm.
The average American reads one book every 5 years.
That's a great stat.
So keep that in mind.
So if this is year 5,
reading is fundamental.
Right
you deserve to be rich.
Let that be the book.
You deserve to be rich. That's a fact.
Let that be the one, please.
I had a gentleman ask me, is this going to last a quarter or longer? No, I think this would be over in 60 days, but by June or July, that would be another issue that comes afloat, because they're going to have to report these real quarter over quarter numbers.
Yeah.
Once we get to the tariff thing, it's going to be time for that big R word that I hope does not happen.
Yeah. Let's not have that happen.
Buy the dip. Also.
Wait, real quick before you go there. Shout out to Mercedes in the chat. She said, book club, EYLU book club. You Deserve to Be Rich is the book. The authors will be there this weekend. The authors will be there this weekend. Make sure y'all tap in. We'll be there. We'll be there.
EY University cooking up an Invest Fest. We have some things lined up.
Okay, thank you.
We have some things lined up, some life-changing things lined up.
It's called
Stay Tuned.
It's called
Stay Tuned.
It's called Stay Tuned, life-changing, and yes, for sure. Vitally important. It's needed. It's needed. It's needed. It's needed. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to publicly apologize to anybody that I may have offended.
Yeah, Matt Hoffa said, quit talking about Cadillacs, because he's driving across the country in a Cadillac.
Shout out to Matt Hoffa.
Shout out to Matt.
I would like to publicly apologize to anybody that I would like to offend. Okay, and then my mom did send a long text.
Thank you for acknowledging it.
Cory Booker. Let's put this in ChatGPT to summarize, because it's a very long text.
What an amazing.
You want me to read it, or how do you want to do this?
40-word summary.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, I do this with everything. I'm a Cliff Note type dude. Okay, she said, I wasn't ready to speak, but please share this. Senator Cory Booker broke Strom Thurmond's filibuster record, not with hate, but with truth, love, and purpose. A moral moment reminding us, if it is to be, it's up to me. Cory Booker, I would like to publicly apologize for my comments. We may have went a little too far.
He wanted. So this is from
allegedly.
Senator Booker wanted to disrupt the normal business day of the U.S. Senate for as long as he physically was able. He made many points why the person residing in the White House is totally wrong for the job. Senator Booker begged the people to not let this be another normal day in America. We must listen. Senator Booker's quote was, "The body has limits, but the spirit has none. If you have a big enough why." Powerful words.
Yes, powerful.
Powerful words.
Okay. Okay.
Love you.
Y'all seen the movie Cocaine Bear?
That's the next. Great segue, Ian. Thanks. Yeah, that was a true story, though. That's great. That movie's a true story.
Oh my God.
Shout out to Nicaragua.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, that cocaine. Allegedly.
Teva Pharmaceutical makes Adderall. What was the ticker?
Oh, shout out to the guy saying shot for president. You spamming the chat, but yes, I will be running for president.
Yo, who is that? Yeah, he's spamming.
You heard it here first. I will be running for president. That's what this is all about.
Thank you.
For
Who's
sure.
it? They said you on the is Stephen A on the ticket?
Potentially.
Yeah. You never know who your allies may be.
You never know.
You never know.
You never know.
Yo.
We have a race in New York City for the mayor. Eric Adams is running as independent.
Yes. Gonna be tough
Beat
for
the
him.
case.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough for him.
Legendary. Beat the case.
It's gonna be tough
But
for
I'm
him.
back. I'm done with the Democrats. Screw y'all.
You're not gonna get no money though, man.
Hey, man.
You never know. He's down with Trump, so you might
Yeah.
get
Schultz, he gonna help out.
Yo,
Andrew Schultz.
Boy, fundraising.
yeah. I think they got the former governor Como.
Yeah, he's a front runner.
He's a front runner right now.
He's a front
Yeah.
runner. He's a front runner.
That's a tough opponent.
Yeah,
That's a tough opponent.
they had that guy online to be the president at one point.
Yeah.
That changed quick.
Yeah. Okay. All right, guys.
All right, y'all.
Get your tickets to InvestFest.
Please.
Yes.
IanInvest.com.
Yeah.
Yes.
EY University. We got some stuff cooking up, and get the book.
Yeah.
You Deserve to Be Rich.
Go investments.com for everything. Make sure you get your hotel blocks. They are available now.
Hotel blocks.
Please.
Hotel blocks.
Vendors, get your booths. There will not be, hey, Troy, is there one left? No, once it's gone, good night.
That's
There's
so
no more
hard.
space for it. I appreciate you.
Can somebody do 24 hours in the vendor market like Cory Booker?
Yo, just speaking.
Man. Yes.
I'm just here to make my parents
The
proud.
hotel blocks are important though, because they do sell out quickly. So if you want your hotel, it's a discounted rate. Signia is right there, literally.
Very convenient.
The best option for sure. We appreciate y'all. Love is love. Again, happy anniversary to me. Happy anniversary to my wife. We appreciate all the love.
Guys, for real.
Shout out to the island of St. Thomas where we held our wedding. It was a beautiful ceremony. I remember sitting there and it was raining, and Shotty looked at me like, "Damn, bro, shit sucks." I was like, "Thanks, man."
Well, they say it's good luck if it rains on your wedding day.
There you go.
Really?
Well, they gotta say that to make you feel good.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
You know that.
That's
a
a
wedding
type of
planner
encouragement.
said.
That was the
Yeah.
encouragement, man. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it.
They say it's good luck if it rains on your wedding day. Congratulations to my niece who was in a play.
I saw that. Blessing.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, this is like number 3. I
she's
feel
been-
like.
she's been on a bunch of
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay.
To my brother Haas, he coached a championship game this weekend.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
They
shout out to
won?
them.
They lost in the finals of the I think the 12U. My nephew was on that
Oh, yeah?
team. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they did lose that game.
It's that time of season.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been real. We'll see you guys on Blackout, and don't forget Pinky Cole. We got the exclusive interview with Pinky Cole on Thursday. She's talking about how she lost her business and how she got her business back. Exclusive interview, long form conversation. She really breaks it down. She talks about the trials and tribulations, stuff that nobody knew that she was going through internally. Very good for entrepreneurs. Very, very good for entrepreneurs to learn from that type of situation. Shout out to Pinky, Derek, the whole team. 6 o'clock on Thursday, and Blackout 10 o'clock on Wednesday.
Yeah. And we asked the questions that we know people want to know because we wanted to know. And she was open about them. She was open about answering it, and she answered in detail. And the only way Pinky knows how to be passionate, authentic, and very, very spirited. And so everybody's in for a treat. Yeah. As soon as it was done, they were like, "Oh, that's a classic."
They want to know.
They were like, "Yo, that's a classic." Yeah.
So when he said we was gonna be tired of winning, was that like if you had puts only or
The who?
Trump? When he said we gonna win so much, you gonna be tired of winning?
Trump bugged out, man. Yo, Trump.
We gotta call our guys.
Get it
Yeah,
together,
shout out to the guys we know in the A.
We gotta call our guys, man.
Yeah. Republican.
Gotta make an adjustment.
Where's Tim Scott when you need him? He hasn't been quiet lately.
Hey, where
For
you been?
sure.
And Donaldson.
We remember we had that meeting in Miami.
Yeah.
Gotta hit them up.
I feel like a black Republican. Feel like a black Republican money I got.
Here's
coming.
what it'll take, guys.
It was campaigning hard to not be in that office, ain't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. It's been real. Be good to each other. Reach out. text your people, love on your people. Never take this day or the next day for granted. We are all
Facts.
blessed to be here. Love is love, and we catch you on Wednesday. Peace.
Love y'all. Peace.